Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to the Everything is Bad new Fangled motion picture show.
Well, Jason Momoa has finally been a star in something that has been as successful as he deserves it to be.
And that he survives through.
Yeah, because Game of Thrones has obviously been super successful. But regardless, we're of course talking about Aquaman. Yep. Which don't mix up success and quality, because they're definitely not the same thing, as is demonstrated by Aquaman.
Yeah.
So we're gonna do a normal thing where we do a spoiler-free review and then give you a spoiler warning and get more in depth into it. And as usual, I'm Niall.
And I'm Nolan.
So, all right, well, let's get to it. So, I think this is the best Aquaman movie that they could have made. I think it is the best thing that they could have done with Aquaman. That being said, everything about Aquaman is stupid. It looks stupid. Conceptually is stupid. And it shows through in this movie. Everything just looks silly. You just stylistically, it just looks...
Aquaman's a hard sell, I think. Yeah, I agree. They did the best you can do with Aquaman, and there's some cool stuff in this movie. There's one thing in particular I'll get into in the spoiler section that I thought was like they just jumped the shark, so to speak, with this. There's a few other things I was like, all right, I guess we'll accept that. But one thing in particular, just like, did they really just do that?
Was it that thing we were just talking about? Where the director was like, well, if that movie has that thing, then... Oh, okay.
No, this is something else entirely.
I'm going to come out and say it. This movie has a drumming octopus. There, I said it. Alright? It's not a spoiler or anything, but that's how stupid stuff can get in this movie. There's an octopus playing the drums.
Okay. Kind of reminded me of that sequence from Bedknobs and Broomsticks.
It reminded me of The Little Mermaid, the Under the Sea.
Yeah, that too.
So, this movie... Aquaman's a dumb character. The idea of having this under the sea culture that's, high-tech and everything, and the aesthetic that naturally goes with that, in contrast with the dark, gritty, non-whimsical world that you're trying to build in the rest of the DC universe, it just doesn't fit. Beyond the fact that it looks stupid, it doesn't fit with the rest of the DC movies.
Yeah, one thing, it's kind of weird, they had to give Aquaman additional powers, I think, to make him be able to bat in the big leagues.
Yeah.
He's suddenly bulletproof.
Yeah, unless it's Atlantean steel, apparently.
Yeah.
Because, the movie starts out with that scene from the trailer where he boards the submarine and he's like, permission to come aboard.
Yeah, well, he's,
and then beats the crap out of those pirates.
They try to stab him and his, muscles deflected, try to shoot him several times. They shoot him with
a grenade. With a 40mm grenade.
Yeah, with grenades. And it's just leaves a black mark and he just kind of brushes it off. I was like, well,
okay. I mean, he was on the ground for a bit there. But it was if you smash your shin into your coffee table real hard and you kind of just collapse for a bit, that's kind of, the extent of damage dealt by this grenade that he took to the chest.
Yeah, he, oops, totally hit the mic.
Oh, well, you got the cord hanging down off the boom is why. There we go.
Anyway, yeah, it's I mean, I'm not the biggest DC fan, but I don't remember him being, impervious to damage.
Well, I'm going to go ahead and say it. I'm not a DC fan at all. The only thing I've liked from DC has all been Vertigo stuff. So, but, I mean... There's people out there saying that this movie is as good as Wonder Woman, and that's objectively wrong. That's objectively false. It is not. Just, even from like even from just like
What? A
like what am I
technical
trying to say?
stand?
Yeah, like from a technical like movie making standpoint, it's not as good a movie as Wonder Woman. The pacing's not like real consistent throughout the movie. There's some sequences where I was just like, well, this feels like it's advancing really fast, and then there are parts that are like, all right, can we move on? Can we go to the next thing?
Yeah. But yeah, it's just sort of. I mean, it's an alright movie. I think it's definitely better than Justice League and Batman v Superman. I don't think it's as good as Wonder Woman.
I don't think it's even as good as the majority of Man of Steel. Because I think Man of Steel was a fine movie until the Dragon Ball Z fight scene at the end.
Yeah.
Until that, I thought it was a perfectly fine Superman movie. But yeah, it's definitely not on par with Wonder Woman. And again, it's not really, there's not anything about it that's just like, this is just straight up bad. There's a lot of things that it could do to improve some stuff. I mean, God, its runtime is 2.5 hours.
Yeah, it was pretty long.
You know, and so there's some things that they could definitely do to improve it, but it's like I was sitting there at the end watching the credits, and I was like, I don't think that was a good movie, and there was nothing that I could just straight up go, well, yeah, this is bad movie making. It's just everything that was bad about it's like, well, that's just Aquaman. Aquaman is stupid.
Yeah, none of it is Jason Momoa's fault.
Oh yeah, Jason Momoa is great. I mean,
he's a fine Aquaman.
I mean, pretty much everyone's fine in this movie. This movie has Willem Dafoe in it. I like Willem Dafoe. Although there were some parts where Amber Heard got real. What's what I'm looking for?
I don't know.
Just like obnoxious.
I guess.
I
don't know. I didn't mind her.
There were some parts where just like, I don't know. There was a lot of cheesiness in this movie.
That's fine. That's fine in a superhero movie, for the most part.
Yeah, but it was just really over the top.
I think some of the things were designs of things were kind of cool. Like I like the trench beasts, the deep ones.
Oh yeah, they look like Dagons or something.
Dagon had tentacles. They look like deep ones.
Yeah.
Fish people.
And
there's like a little like thing at the beginning, like his dad, the lighthouse keeper, is reading the Dunwich Horrors.
Yeah.
H.P. Lovecraft.
I would not read that.
Yeah, as a lighthouse keeper, no way would I read that. That's like, I'm gonna go to an Antarctic expedition and watch The Thing beforehand,
or read At the Mountains of Madness on the way there.
Right. But yeah, it's not a terrible movie. I guess
I don't
like a lot of people are liking it, but I get those people are probably like somehow big Aquaman fans or DC fans, and they're just like, I feel like some people are like, well, we need something to like be as good as Marvel, and this is the best we got right now. But it's not as good as your average Marvel movie.
No. I mean, it's I think a better movie than some of the Gen 2 Marvel movies. Some of those are kind of bad.
Yeah. But it just kind of like sits in the middle of it was superhero movies for me.
It was better than Iron Man 3. I'll give it that.
Yeah, but I think right now it's just kind of sitting in this like nebulous middle of superhero movies. It's better than most of the DC stuff, but not as good as others. And
like you said, I do appreciate that it's doing well, just because I really want Jason Momoa to have a win, because Jason Momoa is awesome. That Conan movie he was in was amazing.
Yeah, especially if you've read Conan.
Yeah,
that was a much better Conan movie than the Arnold Schwarzenegger the Arnold Schwarzenegger Conan movies are far departure from the actual Conan stories.
Yeah. Yeah, and this is like Jason Momoa has this thing where he'll be in something that won't do well, and it's never Jason Momoa's fault. So, yeah, I'm glad that this is doing well because of that, but I don't know, man. I just remember sitting there like checking my watch like for the last hour of the movie.
I think if they make a sequel and they focus on a particular character as the villain, and they just focus on like that villain versus Aquaman, that could be a good movie.
Yeah. I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, I think if they just focused on like a story that's like between those two, and they set it up at the end of this movie for that.
Yeah.
And if they just like they
Focus,
could, I think they can make
on that. Don't do anything else.
Yeah, I think they can make a pretty good movie out of that. Actually.
Yeah. I mentioned that in the spoiler part.
Yeah.
But I heard a statistic. Yeah, I heard the statistic. It was on a podcast I was listening to, I think. This movie opened up in China on like 25,000 movie screens or something like that.
Mm.
And like, to give you an idea, I think at the height of Infinity War in America, it was on like 6,000 screens.
Is that it?
Yeah.
That seems a really low number.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it was on, what, maybe like 4 or 5 screens in most major multiplex theaters? It's not really that many.
I guess. Anyway.
Yeah, it's more like China, subsidizing the creation of DC movies.
Yeah, they seem to like them, I guess.
They seem to like them better than the Americans do. That's for sure.
Yeah, no accounting for taste.
But the Chinese market has always loved like bad action movies. Like all those action movies you see where you're like, this is ridiculous, this is dumb, like that Great Wall movie, or like what was that movie that was like Escape from New York in space?
Oh yeah.
Those movies that are just like ridiculous, over the top bad action movies. You look, almost all of those are made by Chinese studios or funded by Chinese studios. I don't know what it is, but the Chinese love bad action movies.
Yeah. Anyway, so that's pretty much our review.
Genre movies in particular, they love.
Yeah, that's basically our review of Aquaman. To me, it's just kind of an okay movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Spoiler.
So, spoilers. Yeah.
So the villain we were talking about is Black Manta, I assume is what you were. Yeah.
Black Manta.
Black Manta was cool. I actually liked that. I think what they did with him was cool, except that he only spent like 10 minutes being Black Manta, which I didn't like.
Yeah.
Because he was a much cooler villain than the guy who was the main villain.
Right, who was his brother. Orm, yeah. His yep. Aquaman's brother, who's one of the other major villains. Like Aquaman has like a few, like every superhero has a few like major villains, but Black Manta and Orm are his two biggest villains. But yeah, Black Manta was cool in this. I think he was kind of underutilized, actually. And each time he fought Aquaman, though, he went out like a punk.
Yeah, well, the only time that he spent like as Black Manta is that scene that's in the trailer where he's being attacked in Italy, and they're like running, or what's her name, Amber Heard is running along the rooftops.
Yeah,
like that's the only part where he's actually being Black Manta.
Yeah, but the end of the movie sets him up as a villain in a sequel, because he's he wants revenge on Aquaman because Aquaman let his father die.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty ridiculous when he's like, they're like trying to pirate this submarine, and then he's like, he doesn't kill the guy's father, he just doesn't do anything to save them, and then he's like, how dare you? It's like, dude, you're a literal pirate.
Yeah. Well, I mean, he tells the story to Mara, and she's like, well, they chose a dangerous profession.
Yeah.
You know?
Also, I refuse to believe that the Russians would give up a submarine that easily.
Yeah, it was a Russian sub for whatever reason. I don't know why. Maybe they're trying to draw in Russian audience?
Or maybe they're trying to show that, like, Aquaman doesn't care what your nationality is. He'll save you anyway.
Or they might be able to capture a Russian sub, but they're never going to capture an American sub.
Yeah, maybe the idea of these pirates capturing an American sub was just too distasteful for target or for test audiences or something.
Maybe.
But also, the Russians would not build a submarine big enough for Jason Momoa to stand up in, let alone have extra room above his head.
Yeah, this was like a pretty big interior for a submarine. I know they're very, even on like the largest classes of submarines, they're in existence.
Really close.
Everything's very tight and close.
And the Russians are known for making those interiors even tighter than the Americans do. Like I think the Russians have a max height limit for submariners.
Yeah. Now the Submariner, that's probably a character we'll never see in the Marvel universe because Aquaman.
Yeah.
Because you risk so much like looking like a ripoff of Aquaman.
Well, with the Submariner being the way he is, you would either have to do him as the villain in one of the Marvel movies, or he would have to like have his own show. Because he's like in some ways an anti-hero, but he's
sometimes a villain.
He's bad more frequently than he's good.
Yeah. Anyway,
like it's not like the Punisher where it's like, yeah, I mean he's killing people, but he's killing bad guys. Now the Submariner declares war on the surface world like he's Captain Nemo.
Yeah. He also has an affair with from Fantastic Four, Susan Storm.
Yeah.
Anyway, we're talking about Aquaman, not Submariner.
But Submariner is a better character.
Anyway, yeah. Oh, so the thing that like for me was just like, what?
Was not the drumming octopus? Huh?
Not the drumming octopus. I mean, it was
because that was just like
I was like, well,
audible
Aquaman.
eye roll.
It's like, Aquaman. I guess it's like cheap animal tricks, like teaching your dog to balance a biscuit on its nose. Same thing, but the Atlantean equivalent. Anyway,
well, I mean, octopi are really smart.
So there was this sequence that I thought was actually really cool, leading up to the thing I thought was really dumb.
Oh, I know.
So they're over this trench, and the trench is full of these fishmen. They're like the creature from the Black Lagoon, but spikier and scarier.
Like
and
deep ones.
They're like deep ones from H.P. Lovecraft. And so he and Mara are like diving down, and they're afraid of the light, so they have these flares. And there's some really awesome looking shots where they're diving down, and like you see this like red light like go like just like this like pinpoint of like red light going down the screen, and you just see this like swarms of them like this like going around the light. You know, it's just really cool sequence. And they get down to the bottom in this trench, and there's like this vortex of water, and they go into it, and it's like sends them to the. I thought it sent them back in time at first because there's dinosaurs everywhere.
Okay, so when we were watching, they like go into the portal, and then they like get shot out, and then like one of them surfaces, and you went, "What did it send them back in time or something?" Like as a joke, and then there was like dinosaurs, and you were like, "Holy shit! It did send them back in time."
Well, see, the reason I made the joke is because it looked a lot like the vortex from the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movie.
Yeah.
That like sent the ships back in time. And so it looked like that, but you just put it underwater. And so I was like making the joke there as a reference to that. And then there was dinosaurs everywhere. I was like, holy shit, it did send them back in time. No. What it did is it sent them to the center of the Earth, all a journey to the center of the Earth where dinosaurs still live.
Yeah. And a kraken.
Yeah. So did in Man of Steel, when they he flies through the center of the Earth and back out, did he pass by that?
I don't know, man.
Anyway, yeah, and so I was like, all right, this is just really dumb.
Yeah, and it didn't need to be. It could have just been that, at the bottom of this trench is their MacGuffin, and it could have just been that.
Well, because his mother was trapped and lived there, but remember, they're Atlanteans. They don't need dry land to live, so she could have just been trapped underwater, unable to leave this trench.
Yeah, so it's they didn't need to be this portal to the center of the Earth. It could have just been, she's trapped there by all the deep ones.
Yeah, with dinosaurs there,
which did not come into play at all. They were just there in the background.
Right, dinosaurs.
Also, so that whole sequence was one of the parts where it felt the pacing felt weird. Cause going from the fight with Black Manta to him finding the trident was really quick. There was that sequence with the deep ones that was fairly long, but then once they got into the trench and are chasing through, that was really quick. And then they get through the portal and then they find his mother right away. And then she's like, yeah, what you're looking for is past that waterfall. And then he just walks through the waterfall and smash cut to the underwater, he's not underwater, walks through the waterfall, and then smash cut, he's in this deep, dark underwater area where the trident is. And then he talks to the Kraken thing, and then smash cut, he's walking back through the waterfall in the gold armor with the green booties, holding the trident. It's what?
Green pants too.
Oh yeah, green pants. And it was just what? You spent so much time on shit that we didn't care about. And this thing with this, actually kind of cool sequence with, going down and finding the trident and dealing with this giant tentacle monster, you're gonna, rush through it?
And then I guess they don't, leave through the trench. They just,
burst through
the surface,
with their newfound kaiju.
Yeah.
Because this thing pops out, and it looks like... It looked like that boss from Final Fantasy X. Remember when you're underwater and you're salvaging the airship?
Oh yeah.
And you fight the octopus thing with that's got the spikes on its head. Whips you with its tentacles as its attack.
Yeah, I can see that. I thought it looked like something straight out of Pacific Rim.
Yeah, it did look like that too. But yeah, it bursts out of the ground during the big fight at the end versus the Brine King.
So I guess
that whole we go to the Brine Kingdom, and it's he gets the princess of the merfolk in this Baby Bjorn battle pod thing, and then they're we're gonna go fight the Brine King, and I was just this everything to do with this character is stupid.
So
I'm sure all of that's probably stuff from the comic books, and so it's how do you do Aquaman and not sound stupid?
There are 4 underwater kingdoms. 2 of them are just humans who can breathe underwater.
There's 7 underwater kingdoms. He needed 4 in total to have the majority to be of the Council of Kings.
Right. Okay.
And so he had the 2 humans.
At least 2 of them are humans.
Yeah, the Atlanteans and something else.
Yeah. Then there's the Fisherman Kingdom, which they're all merfolk. They have lower halves of their bodies are fish.
Well, and the upper halves still have fins and stuff, but they're humanoid in shape.
Yeah, they're more humanoid.
But the upper half is humanoid in shape.
Yeah.
So they have torsos and arms and humanoid shaped heads, but with fins on them and stuff. And it's all pretty horrific.
And fish lips.
Yeah.
Then there's the crustacean ones.
The Brine Kingdom.
They're all crustaceans.
Yeah, and they're like that's that sequence from the trailer with the giant like king crabs.
Yeah.
And like that whole like epic fight at the end was I'm just sitting there like this looks so stupid. Everything just looks stupid and ridiculous.
I mean, the quality of the CG's good.
The quality of the CG, well, there's some parts.
There's
There's
a few parts where you're like, eh.
There's definitely some parts in this movie, particularly during that fight sequence whenever there's like a normal sea creature, like that orca that Amber Heard was riding around on was bad.
One thing is kind of weird to me is, so they're obviously when they filmed them, they're like CGing their hair so it's floating around or whatever. But then they do this other thing where like every once in a while there'll just be like this ripple, like over them, and I'm like, I think if you're underwater, you're not going to see those ripples much. I don't know.
With sound waves going through the water, you could.
Yeah, I don't know. It just looked weird. Like just like this weird ripple thing.
If they only do it when there's noise happening, I didn't really notice personally, but
yeah. Well, they did.
I mean, I was eye rolling so hard throughout the whole of this movie. Wasn't paying that close attention to the screen.
I would actually would have liked them to like cut something out somewhere and give us more of like the training stuff. Because I'm curious like how that even happened. Did
like Willem Dafoe
just come knocking on like the lighthouse door and be like, hey, I'm from Atlantis, I want to train your son to fight?
Yeah.
I mean, like, is that what happened? See, we get like 2 or 3 like flashback sequences to like when Willem Dafoe was training him as a kid to fight and use his powers, except like he doesn't have like the manipulation of water down so good like Mara does. But but he's the only one who can talk to sea life.
Yeah.
Which is how like the Kraken thing determined he was worthy, because everyone else who went in after the Trident couldn't speak to her. It was a female. And so when he speaks back, it's like, you understand me?
Yeah, it's like that scene in Detective Pikachu trailer. Yeah. It's like, whoa, did you just talk? Whoa, did you just understand me?
Yeah. And the Kraken's like, I've been so lonely. Not really.
Yeah.
But it's probably been lonely.
Yeah. That would have almost been a better sequence that way. But it was something like prophesied or something, or that like the true kings of Atlantis could speak to the fish or whatever.
Yeah. Is
like part of why. And like, because someone mentioned it, like he's commanding the sea life, in the trench. The trench listens, or he's commanding the trench or whatever, and they're like, that's impossible. And like I think someone said something that implied that like that was a sign he was the true king or whatever.
Yeah, but I think like it's supposed to be if you can hold the trident, you can do that, but he could do it without the trident.
Yeah.
Or maybe his command is more powerful with the trident.
Well, yeah.
Or he can communicate, but maybe he couldn't like actually control them. The trident, he could control the sea life. Without it, he could still communicate with it.
Yeah, maybe that's.
I think that's what it is. I don't know, but yeah, I don't know.
My man.
He says that a few times.
Actually, I don't think he says it in this. He definitely said it.
I think he said it once.
Did he?
I remember hearing it like once at least.
Yeah, maybe he did. But something that's kind of weird to me about Arthur in this DC universe, DCCU or whatever, is that so they went, all right, we're gonna cast this huge Pacific Islander dude. We're gonna make him talk like a surfer bro, but he's still gonna be from Maine.
Yeah,
like that was weird. Like, I mean, his dad, Temuera Morrison.
Yeah, I believe he's Maori.
Yeah, he looks Maori. Like
he was Jango Fett.
Is that the guy who was Jango Fett?
Yeah, I think he was Jango Fett, right?
Yeah. Okay, yeah, he's definitely Maori then. Anyway, good actor. when they were CGing his face to look young at the beginning looked kind of weird though.
That technology is almost there.
They de-aged Willem Dafoe pretty well in the training sequences.
Yeah, they did that, and then Ant-Man did a pretty good job with Michael Douglas.
I almost said Kirk Douglas.
Yeah. I don't think anything can like de-age Kirk Douglas. I mean, the man is like Methuselah or something.
Yeah.
But
anyway,
yeah, like you see that more and more in movies, and I think like on a TV, it wouldn't be so noticeable. When you're seeing it like on a giant screen, the technology is almost there though.
Yeah, but
where it would be seamless.
The thing is,
it's come a long way since Tron Legacy.
Yeah,
I'll put it that way.
The thing is that like, well, at least in Tron Legacy, it was all on a computer and the lighting was weird, so it was.
Well,
okay.
No, there's the opening scene.
Oh yeah, that opening scene's kind of weird. Where when he's talking to his son.
Yeah,
Jeff Bridges is talking to what's his name, but yeah, I don't see any reason why they couldn't have set this movie like in Central or Northern California. Like why they couldn't have had a lighthouse there.
Well,
other than if they just really want to make sure that Atlantis is in the Atlantic Ocean.
Well, Atlantis has to be in that part of the world. Or the Atlantic or the Mediterranean or wherever. It has to be in that part of the world. Because that's where the legends are from.
Yeah. I mean, because one of the kingdoms is in the Indian Ocean, remember?
Yeah. But Atlantis, the legend is always in the Atlantic. So it...
But I still feel like, they could have gotten away with it having been in California instead of Maine.
Except they'd have to move Atlantis to the Pacific.
Why?
Because his mother washes up on shore.
Yeah, because she was fleeing. She could have fled far. I mean, they can swim at like 100 miles an hour.
Well, even still. I mean, in the comics, that's where he's from, so there.
Yeah, I know. But in the comics, they didn't cast Pacific Islander dude.
Yeah, it was a blonde dude.
Yeah,
Aquaman has always been a blonde guy in the comics.
And he wasn't a surfer bro.
Right.
Just the way he talks and dresses, and the fact that he's this huge...
Except when he goes home to Maine, he's always wearing a pea coat.
Yeah. But just like the way he talks and dresses and the way he acts and stuff, it's all very like, surfer vibe. And
he just looks like he smells funky though.
Aquaman?
Yeah, he just look at him like, I bet that guy just smells funky.
Yeah. I don't know. Like it felt like they were I don't know, it just felt weird because of the changes they made to the character.
Yeah, well.
I think it would have just been a better fit on the West Coast. Or at least further south. Could have set it in, like, Florida or something.
Yeah. That's even closer to where Atlantis would be, so.
Yeah. But, anyway. Well, is it? I mean, Virginia's kind of, like...
Maine's really a lot farther north than you think.
Yeah, but, like... Virginia's like the same latitude as the Mediterranean Sea, right?
Yeah, Virginia's closer to Florida than it is to
Maine. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, it's... I don't know. There's a lot of stuff about this movie that you just watch and you're just like, really? They're gonna have a fucking drumming octopus or whatever? And stuff like that?
In the octopus's garden. Anyway.
So, there's so many movies out right now. Don't see this one. If you're gonna go see a movie right now, go see Bumblebee. Go see Spider-Man. You know,
like definitely a better movie.
There are better movies out right now than this. If you're like us and you've seen everything that's in theater right now, then and you really want to see a movie, I guess. I mean, we went and saw Welcome to Marwen today, and there was a father and his three kids that were age ranges like 8 to 12, it looked like. And I was just like, of all the movies in theater right now, this is the one you take the kids to see?
Yeah. Well,
I thought there's anything in it that they shouldn't be seeing, but it's not a kids
there
movie.
Was like one thing. Remember, he's like watching the porno.
Oh yeah, yeah. Anyway, That's gonna be our next review, by the way. Is Welcome to Marwen. So be on the lookout for that. Also, check out our other reviews. There's so much out right now. We did Bumblebee, Mary Poppins, Mortal Engines. Trying to remember everything we've seen. We've seen so much in the last couple weeks. Spider-Man.
Yeah, Spider-Man's good. Take your kids to Spider-Man instead.
Yeah. So we're our next like I said, our next review is Welcome to Marwen. We're coming up on the end of the month and end of the year here real quick. Ads. So our next weekend our reviews are going to be for Vice, right? Starring Christian Bale.
Yeah.
And Stan and Ollie, which is a Laurel and Hardy biopic, which looks pretty good. At least we plan to. Anyway, this seems like the kind of movie that we saw trailers for and went, oh, that looks really cool. And then the weekend it comes out, we're going to find out that, like, oh no, it's a limited release right now.
Yeah, we're going to have to wait till, like, February to watch it.
Yeah, because that happened with Darkest Hour, a few other movies.
Yeah.
Then in January is The Upside, which looks like, Kevin Hart and Bryan Cranston are just really trying to get Oscars. But it looks decent. Replicas looks weird, looks like a weird sci-fi movie, but it's got Keanu in it, so I'm interested in seeing it. Then there's Glass. And
Arctic Justice. What is that?
I don't know. Yeah, and then that's it for January, I think. Then Lego Movie 2 in February is like the first movie of 2019 we're really interested in. Then there's Alita Battle Angel. And How to Train Your Dragon 3. Wasn't there was something we saw a trailer for? Oh, that Liam Neeson movie that we saw the trailer for. Didn't that say February?
I don't remember. I don't remember what it was called, but it looked like it's just another Liam Neeson taking revenge on someone who wronged, murdered his kid or something.
Yep.
It's like,
and as long as they keep making those movies, I'll keep seeing them. So, wow, he's got a lot of.
Liam Neeson's getting typecast as that.
He has
role, though.
Cold Pursuit.
Yeah.
He has a lot of stuff in production.
Oh yeah, he's in Men in
now.
Black too.
Yeah, he has a lot of stuff in production right now. Holy crap. Cold Pursuit. Updated June. Was it? Oh yeah, it says 8th February for that. So yeah, there's also that movie. It looks like the Everyman's taken. Because he's not like a special agent or anything, and it's all within this small northern town.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that's what we got coming up. So if any of that sounds of interest to you, go ahead and subscribe. And that way you can see when we have new stuff posted. And yeah. That it?
Yeah, that's it.
Cool. Until next time. Thanks for listening.
So long.
Toodles. My man.